squad is doing insanely well in scrims. This is a team that is crushing scrims right now, and I mean, everybody's been saying it even during MSI, while teams were practicing and scrimming, that T1 should not be taken lightly, and I have high hopes for them here, and I think they come in with that fact alone as massive favorites in our first series for them of the summer split.
Yep, looking forward to seeing what they have cooked up for us. First ban will be the Karma as we hop into pick and ban for game number 1. It looks like Vista's going to be targeted out here just a little bit on the blue side for T1, as Lucian going to be taken off the board as well. Good flex pick to remove, especially after seeing what Lava did with it up against Liv Sandbox. Kalista taken away from Teddy. You saw the win rate that he has of all time on that particular champion. We also saw how Kalista performed in our last series, also in back-to-back games. Very, very strong. So good to see that one given some respect. However, there are so many picks that are now left up, right? That we were talking about. You mentioned the Ezreal, we've got Nocturne, we've got Renekton, we've got Rumble, we've got Akali. Lots of picks that are real scary.
Yeah, they banned the Renekton. I think this is a great choice because now you get to choose between, if you do want to first pick the Varus or the Ezreal, you actually get that opportunity. I like the Jace response because it does mean that now HLE Esports, of course, can take the other one. And this is we talk about the mid matchup between Faker and Chovy, but in terms of the champion pools and top tier AD carries right now, my focus for this series was always going to be on the AD carry pool. And with both being left open like this, it could end up being traded. They will put their focus on the Lee Sin pick, though, which is one of those strong flexes.
Yep, three-way flex, unless Carrier's got something weird.
Never mind.
Bottom side, but no, it is going to be that first pick, Ezreal. Absolutely love it. This is the kind of priority that I was expecting out of our first series, but instead it was banned in the second round every single time, right? We didn't really get to see it, but we get to see Teddy on it this time. We'll see what answer Deft is going to have. Is it going to be Lulu Cogmore? Please just do it.
I mean,
don't be scared. Cogmore's busted as well.
Yeah, his most played in solo queue right now is the Cogmore, in fact.
They don't actually have to lock it in just yet, though, and so it is going to be the Lee Sin taken away here by Johan. Still, once again, going to be that three-way flex, although I wouldn't necessarily peg it as one of Morgan's more comfortable champions. He is definitely far better at playing that weak side top lane sort of bruisery role. However, certainly it has been a long time since we have seen HLE Esports, and we know that Morgan does have the ability to adapt.
I think a blind Gnar here is fine. Now, Nocturne, we didn't talk about Nocturne either. He's also been one of the strongest flexes between the top and mid. The solo lane Nocturne flex is also possible in jungle. Like, he's a three-way as well, and they will lock that in. And, with the Jace removed, Gnar seemed like a pretty safe option, but they really want to be able to have a little bit more global presence on the map. And Nocturne basically doesn't lose lane because his wave clear is insane. He can clear a wave so quickly. It gives you a lot of prio in mid if that's where they want to take him, which does help you a lot in the jungle. And Gwen, is it going to happen? Kana, please, yes!
Well, it might be Kana, but it also could be Faker. Faker's been playing a lot of it in solo queue. That is going to be the Cogmore that we're expecting, just locked away there by Chovy. Sort of has to be done, right? Because otherwise it is going to be banned away, and you really do want to hold on to that Cogmore-Lulu combo. So it looks like HLE Esports going for a little bit of a bot-centric style so far in what we've seen represented here, but damn, this is looking like both of the solo lanes locked in for T1. Good damage range as well on both of them in the Nocturne and the Gwen, but feeling real all in. And I love it when you have it in an Ezreal composition because he's so self-sufficient.
Yeah. They've already banned the Karma, T1 have, so you don't get the Ezreal Karma lane, which is so popular right now. So that's a pretty nice boon for HLE Esports. They can put the focus onto the Rakan ban we see here. Might even see a Nautilus ban to follow. And that just really limits what Keria has to offer right now in terms of the meta champion pool. They'll ban the Twisted Fate instead, though, because they don't want this global control to get absolutely out of hand, which it certainly can if you end up with a Nocturne and a Twisted Fate on the map.
Yeah, actually, I'm respecting the possibility of the Nocturne to be in the jungle. Certainly not the most expected role for the champion, but it's another one of these triple flexes, right? And you do need to give it that respect. So Chovy going to be taking that one away. Actually, I believe in his last solo game, he was playing the Twisted Fate. He did find a victory, so not too bad there. As our set is going to be banned away. Another one aimed at Chovy. Chovy's win rate, I think, is absolutely ludicrous on that champion right now. But so is a lot of people's. In fact, it was first round banned in both of our matches in our first series. Set just been pretty good at this point in time, as that's the Volley Bear to be taken away here. So likely going to be that lane Lee Sin, unless we have something absolutely crazy happening.
Yeah, I think it is going to be the Lee Sin, probably heading top. And I think that might be a Gwen versus Lee Sin matchup, which would be really fun to watch. We'll wait and see, though. I don't want to counter eggs before they're hatched. As the Rumble, another one of those triple flexes, will get locked in here.
Yep.
So this is kind of the name of the game right now in this meta we talked about earlier. You could play so many of these champions anywhere that the draft kind of has to be completely finished before you get any sort of idea. Now, the Lux pick here would be absolutely insane. I don't think that's actually going to occur. Lux Ezreal, pretty interesting. Keria has played a ton of Pyke recently, but I also don't expect that to make it through.
Yeah, probably not going to be the pick. Is this support? What is happening? Support Rumble? No, that's going to be Leona. Never mind, okay? Sometimes I trust, right? And, Keria often does things that I should trust, but that is definitely not one that I should really be leaning towards. As this Braum pick would mean Chovy's playing Lulu, or...
I mean, it could be Kog'Maw.
Yeah, no,
Kog'Maw
that actually
well.
what it...
Let's wait and see, because this is how
it's not going to be AP Kog'Maw, but where is the Lulu going? Because it could be top lane, Volibear in the jungle, and then Lee Sin mid lane for Chovy. Could be the option. And, of course, T1 flexing things all over the place as well. But,
yeah, it looks like this is where we're...
Or is it going to be Chovy mid lane Volibear? Because he's Chovy.
I mean, it probably is going to be mid lane Lee Sin, but...
I mean, Chovy's been playing a bit of the Volibear in solo queue.
He has.
Having some good times with it, so that could just be what it is. Faker has switched from the Gwen to the Nocturne.
Yeah, the Gwen, I feel like playing Gwen mid lane, you can do it, but it is always going to be a challenge. We might have a swap bug potentially here as well.
No, I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
I think that's just what it's supposed to be.
This is just what it is. Okay. Well, this is going to be really interesting. I want to see if Gwen can end up getting out of hand later on in the game because she has a lot of split pushing power. She's great in team fights. I mean, this is a champion that hasn't really been completely solved just yet. But Kana's going to be playing it here in his very first summer game. It's a champion where you can, basically, if you're left alone in the lane, really run away with the side lane. So there always has to be response. They have Faker as well on this Nocturne. He's a global, so he can help out with that when somebody does come to respond. They have a lot of great things they could do macro-wise.
Yeah, that being said, they don't have the most fantastic ganking combo when it comes to trying to camp top or anything like that, give Gwen any massive leads. And on the other hand, Lulu's not exactly going to be smashing you necessarily, unless she does get a little bit of help. So we'll just have to see how this one is going to go. Thinking about it, this is one of those comps that Harmolife Esports is built around Deft, and that has not been how they've really been playing. This is another one of those games where Chovy's on a burly bruiser in the mid lane, and up against Faker's Nocturne. This is going to be really interesting to watch.
We've seen Deft try this Kog'Maw a few times this year, and obviously historically it's been a very popular pick for him. It's going to go boots first, 4 pots. That's, not your usual 80 carry build down the bottom side.
Yeah, it's like he's pretending to be Jhin for a second, but I like it. Add a little bit of extra sustain there.
But this is a style that can work, and we have seen Deft do it in the past, but this year he has failed several times trying to pull it off with the Kog'Maw Lulu in particular, which we did see in the draft earlier. Didn't end up being the case. The Lulu ended up being another flex. The only champion on Harmolife Esports is that can't be flexed is the Braum.
Yeah.
So we knew where that one was going for sure. I'm also curious to see how Chovy ends up laning against Faker here, because Nocturne can just spin to win, and we'll basically have insane prio in the mid lane for a lot of this early game.
Yeah, it's interesting. Both of these champions having a fair bit of wave clear and sustain. But we'll see who's going to be able to get the edge as Harmolife Esports wanting to get that Braum level 1 happening as Teddy already flashing at level 1. He'd already skilled up the Mystic Shot and couldn't Arcane Shift to safety. Def taking a fair bit of damage, but you'll take that any day of the week as Harmolife.
I mean, it's terrible to have to take your Arcane Shift first, but I think you probably... it's pretty lose-lose either way. He had already locked in the queue, as you said, so Flash is down, and it's a really nice start in terms of that bot pressure. Absolutely. This is what I'm talking about. In the early parts of this matchup, Faker is like, enjoy.
Yeah.
Enjoy the spinnies. And up here, obviously, at level 1, I don't know what Kana took first. Okay, he actually took his E first. Most people were taking Q at first, and then you end up taking your dash because the attack speed lets you trade better. And now it's kind of being more common. But Lulu can poke Gwen quite a bit at the earlier stage, but it will become more difficult later on once the wave clear starts to really kick in for Kana, once he gets some of his items online.
Yeah, this is the interesting thing. Lulu's always been annoying, right?
Yeah.
But she's not necessarily going to be solo killing you over and over and things like that. But you can get some pretty comfortable prio, or at least that is how it's always worked historically. Not a lot of experience with the Gwen-Lulu matchup, to be perfect.
It's a pretty new one.
I apologize.
It's a pretty new one. So Gwen is actually, in this case, has took a Doran shield first to kind of shield some of that abuse in other parts of the game. But most Gwens right now are building into AP and kind of that hybrid that you get with a Nashor's Tooth. So I'm excited to see if that ends up being the case here as well.
I think there's no doubt that you're not going to go towards the Rift Maker in that one. As Zenith Blade coming in towards the bottom side, as Deft is able to answer back with a really nice stun. And I don't know whether TWon are going to be trying to engage into the Bron Cogmore too much.
First time, by the way.
Yeah, this is one of the Volibear mid debuts. By one of the, I mean the. I don't know why I decided to say one of at the beginning of that, but it's been a little while since we've been here. But of course, it's Chovy that's going to do it. When it comes to bruises being played in the mid lane, it generally is a thing that Chovy likes.
Oh, look at this pass!
That was super cute.
Dodges the vision just barely. He's got the full wraparound. Now Kana could bait this.
Yeah.
Oh, he's
doesn't quite have the mists at the moment, and Morgan's pretty healthy, so not going to be too worried. But we'll see whether he actually gets baited in. You can see Morgan not actually biting off more than he can chew, not being overly aggressive or anything like that as the ward goes down and he spots it.
Yeah, Morgan, I think, knows what's up. Johan is coming over.
Yeah, that was, of course, Cuz's ward. I don't know whether he necessarily knew that, as Johan's going to miss the Q.
He still hasn't technically seen him.
Yeah, right. And Morgan now going to have to run away. There's... Oh, not enough! Safeguard shield, I don't even think managed to come in. And that's going to be first blood just basically out of nowhere.
I mean, instantly the blow-up comes through. The damage output on Gwen's Q is actually insane at this stage. Rumble gets the full Q off as well. His flamethrower just eats through all of that health bar. And sometimes you stay just long enough.
Yeah.
You trick him.
Well, you've got another engage coming through here. Teleport immediately as the knock-on turns coming on in. Faker looking to see what he can get done here as Vista doesn't have his flash anymore. He's trying to get out of there, but he's not going to be able to. That's Deft with the cleanse flash and does keep himself alive. But it is still a kill on the bottom side of the map, and TWon off to a pretty nice snowball now, 1,000 gold in the lead.
Yep. And you also see the Kana teleport to mid. He catches Faker's wave, so he's getting a little bit of the extra CS. So watch this again. Cuz gets the full duration off of this, and Kana actually gets the kill, I think, with the last bit of the auto there. He didn't even have... he queued, and then I think the auto was the one that killed him. But watch this, too. Like, on the minimap, you can see Kana goes in at the same time to mid. Faker teleports bottom here. And the heal for the chase. Such a great engage from TWon. Flash comes through, gets the fear. Super easy cleanup. Faker just barely gets out of here. Deft survives, but the damage is done.
Yeah, it was actually really close to Deft being taken down there as well, and that could have been absolutely disastrous. That being said, still not exactly the greatest of news for Harmon Life Esports there towards the bottom side. And in fact, most of the places on the Rift right now. Let's see whether they can get themselves back together. They, of course, have a composition that can fight beautifully. As we move later into the game, you get behind the Cogmore and you make things happen. That being said, certainly a comp that can be snowballed against.
Kana took Ignite. I didn't realize that.
Yes, of course, this is the standard Gwen runes, or some of the spells, towards the top side of the map.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense then.
And, of course, the Gwen really like it. Just
you don't
getting
have
as much
to do
power
it,
as possible.
Yeah, you don't have to take it, but in this case, it's insanely powerful. So that explains the kill there. Oh yeah, sorry about that one. I'm curious to see how this next engage will go on the top side of the map, because Morgan doesn't have flash. Kana has his ultimate now, and if we see another roam up from Cuz, it can really start to snowball that advantage in the side lane.
Yeah, I think almost like Kana may not even need very much more help now, even after just that. As Deft, another Zenith Blade. Feels like these are free as Cuz on vision, but that equalizer has such huge range, and with no flash, there was no way Deft was getting out. Just beautifully timed, and it's just feeling all too easy here for TWon in the early game.
Yeah, it's been a bit of a messy game for Hammer Life. Some small mistakes. especially on this bottom side of the map. I'm sure you got the flash of the Teddy early, but otherwise it would have been easy peasy. Meanwhile,
yeah, Faker could be in a lot of trouble. And by could be, I mean absolutely is. Johan's going to finish it off there as Chovy tanks up the last shot. He's certainly able to do that as the big burly volley bear. And finally, HLE Esports are on the board. T1 though answer immediately with a dragon. Carrier coming on Vista coming on over, finds the stun onto Cuz there. Teddy was biding his time. The Johan gets in here. Chovy still with the ultimate available, but can't quite find the range. And instead, just going to go back home, standing on a ward, as you can see, as Teddy moves onto a ward of his own. Spots that one out, and then is able to put down the control ward just to deny that vision. Snip, snip onto Morgan, and as he can see, Canna's trading a lot better now in this lane.
Yeah, and he's starting to get some of that Omni Vamp online, so he can just CS easily, get that health back, and those moments where, you know, the equalizer damage, sometimes you just don't see it coming because it's from such a large amount of range that...
I mean, it also didn't matter, right?
Yeah.
Like, as soon as he spotted on that ward right there, the equalizer's already killed Death.
Yep.
He can't walk over it, has to go back into the enemy.
Yep, you can see him just walk right in there. This is a trade back, but they lose the Drake, so, you know, it's not really that much to celebrate about right now if you're HLE Esports, unfortunately, at this stage in the game. And, you know, the Rumble pick ends up still being very potent in the jungle despite the small nerf to his clear.
Hasn't seemed to be enough. As Johan just going to try and intercept this one, see whether T1 are going to be able to be forced away from Shelly. Looks like HLE Esports in position right now, but there's the paranoia. A lot of damage down onto Johan, trying to get himself out of there. There's no one dead just yet. The Wild Growth comes in as finally Canna locks down the first one of the fight, but Chovy answers back immediately. Faker's going to get stunned up as well, and Deft is going to grab one in this. And HLE Esports, let's see what they can do. Teddy, of course, wasn't even there. So it should be Hanwha being able to lock down this Rift Herald at the second time of asking.
Will restart, as you said, the second time they will take it. In that fight, Kana used his ultimate onto Johan, actually. Missed the first one, was able to connect the other two, but Johan was able to flash over the wall and get out. So a lot of the resources from Gwen in this early skirmish not going towards the team fight itself, but actually towards preventing Johan.
Oh, this is a little bit uncomfortable because Johan actually went for a reset. So Solar Flare coming through here as Morgan just tanking this one up off to the back.
Buzz is here.
Okay, never mind. They do manage to lock this one down, and Johan picks that one up. So just not enough information there for T1.
Teddy's happy with us, though.
Oh, yeah. And this is possibly even worth it, right? Because how many plates are you guaranteed from a Rift Herald? 2.
Yep.
And Teddy's already grabbed those. So, I mean, where is the real answer back? I guess what you say if you're HLE Esports is, we won ourselves a skirmish, we got a kill in our Cogmore and a kill in our Volley Bear, and we're happy with that.
I watch Kana in this fight. He's kind of off to the side, right? And the equalizer comes through, but he actually chases Johan super deep when he actually could have been doing a ton of damage onto those 3 targets right in front of him right now, with some snips, right, some ults coming through. So a little bit of a misjudgment there on to how much damage he has at this stage of the game to pick Johan and then return to the fight. I think if he had actually went straight in, I think things could have gone a little bit differently in this early skirmish. But at the end of the day, he's still 1,100 gold up against this Lulu right now. Man, you can see Deft is starting to fall behind further and further in terms of the gold because of how much freedom Teddy's had on the bottom side. Those 2 plates you talked about, the CS lead he has. Yeah, 20 up right now practically. And he is certainly going to become a very formidable force in some of these mid-game team fights.
Yeah. The interesting thing is how Ezreal and Cogmore operate in this game. It's going to be so different between both Deft and Teddy. Teddy right now does pick up his Divine Sunderer, so he is officially at real scary status.
Yes.
I'm going to be building towards that Mana Mune, and possibly the Frozen Heart build after that. We'll see where he decides to go. You can go more damage-orientated with a bit of armor pen after that if you'd like as well. And that is going to be those plates that we were talking about, delivered over to 3 members of HLE Esports. And so Deft having to share that gold as well means that you're even more on board with T1's decision to leave Teddy on the bottom side. That being said, didn't need to go for a fight around the Herald at that time. It's, you know, cake and eat it too. You don't need to worry about it.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe biting off a little bit more than they could chew there, but we'll see how this side lane situation develops too, though, because I'm looking at Kana right now. He's 2-0. He's got his Riftmaker. Once he ends up getting towards his second item here, he's going to really be able to actually knock turrets down. He's going to be able to slash through those so quickly. once the Nashor's Tooth comes online. And with the lead he has and the ability to kind of accelerate that side lane pressure, Unlike Esports don't have a great answer for that, unfortunately, with their composition, especially when there's a Nocturne who can match. Okay, that's kind of hilarious.
Yeah.
Usually it's the problem with the Ezreal nowadays, not against it.
Yep, no, it's working out relatively well. For Vista, of course, being able to stop that ultimate.
67th unique pick in the LCK for Faker, by the way.
Congrats to Faker, of course.
2 away from the big milestone.
He's almost getting through the entire roster. We'll see how long it takes him to have played every single champion. He's probably closer than any other player almost in the world.
Yep, I would say so. I mean, Chobi's probably getting up there with how many champions he's played now. Yep. Adding Volibear to the list. Is T1. This is actually kind of close, but they push it away. On Life a little bit late on this rotation.
Yeah, just deciding not to fight for the Cloud. It is going to be a Mountain Soul for the 3rd time today.
Okay, Atlas, what's going on?
I've just traded in me Clouds for some Mountains. That's been my decision. Look, upgrade. That's all I'm going to say.
I'm a big fan so far.
I would like a little bit more variation. However, it is what it is. Some snipping going on towards the top side, as we can see. Chovy just shoving in a wave here in the mid lane. Passbeyond help out with that one as well. Shirelius was the first item choice here for Morgan, going very supportive with his Lulu build there towards the top side. Certainly a lot of different options if you're playing the solo lane Lulu.
I think the Shirelius is super good with the champions that they have, though. It can allow you to get into position a lot better with Volibear, Lee Sin. Braum as well is going to really appreciate it. So I think it's a great choice. I think you want it more than healing in this case because your composition isn't that tanky. You know, you don't want to run... hold that thought.
Yeah, Chovy's still wanting more as Johan diving on in. Keria just tanking up as much as he wants to. Equalizer again, beautifully positioned from Cuz as he finds the harpoon onto Johan. Keria still looking for more as Canna dives on in there. That's the wild growth as Chovy goes in. Out again. Keria surviving as Death gets him with the living artillery. And Homolife Esports will walk away with 1 kill. And Teddy
He's still down there.
Is in the bottom lane.
He's still down there. And this is actually going to become somewhat of a problem, right? I mean, he's getting so much free gold. It's actually insane.
It was also such a close fight as well. And then you look at the minimap and you're like, oh.
But then also, not only is Teddy going to get this turret, look at where Kana is on the top side of the map, completely uncontested at the moment. Okay, Faker just back to get his Stride Breaker. So there is a slight moment of vulnerability here before he could paranoia in for the rescue, potentially. He's got his teleport. But Kana is really going to try to force the issue here. He just keeps clearing this ward every time as well.
Yeah, frustrating. It's like as soon as it goes down, he's like, I sense it once again.
So quick to clear. Keria even going to catch this wave. T1's macro has been pretty solid in this game, and even though they're losing some of these team fights, what they're trading back in terms of late game value with the gold that's given over to Teddy feels fantastic, especially when you have a lead like this on the Gwen. And, I mean, look, this is just a target onto Keria, so it ends up going very slowly, right, this team fight. And T1 don't end up getting the better end of it, obviously, with the teleport coming through, but the value Teddy gets during all of this is pretty huge.
Yeah. I did really like the equalizer out of Cuz yet again.
It could have even been better for T1, yeah.
Yeah, right. Certainly, getting the flash out of Johan, good news there. And a little bit sad that Keria wasn't able to get out of there after tanking absolutely perfectly up until that very last living artillery did come down. Some mists being thrown around here on the top side of the map for Kano, who's just trying to get as much damage onto this turret as possibly can.
He's going to get it. I mean, there's no one who can stop him right now. And now that, Faker's back on the map, and he has the teleport, they know it, like, it's very difficult to actually respond to this.
Yeah, and as these towers keep falling down further and further, Homolife Esports have got a composition that is built to teamfight. It's not built to deal with a multi-pronged attack all over their map. As Shirley's going to be taken down here, and it's Homolife spread too thin around this one.
Yeah, another block here from Vista. Almost feels like Teddy's taunting him at this point.
Yep, it's a game of tennis between these. A one-sided game of tennis between Braum and Ezreal always seems to be.
Well, I mean, now you're starting to really feel bad about not taking that second Drake if you're Homolife Esports. I mean, T1 was at half health group around the Drake. It was a 4v3 fight if you could have taken it, but you're just a little bit too slow. You decide not to contest there. You lose control over Drake advantage. Now you're losing control over the map. 2 turrets down at the moment. And a lot of that gold is funneling into some of these players that can absolutely crush the team fights later on. Kana is playing Gwen, who's not exactly really just a split pusher. I mean, she actually team fights very well too, so that's why she's a lot scarier than some of the split pushing champions that we've had in the top lane in the past. Like Irelia, for example. You can team fight well with her, but Gwen, it feels like it's so easy to execute.
Yeah, it's not quite Fiora status or anything like that. As Carrier, good out of position. Solar Flare's going to come in. He's going to buy a lot of time there as the Lee Sin will be able to take down the kill. Living Artillery, not quite enough as teleport comes in from Chovy as well. Paranoia just to answer, and it was enough to get a teleport out.
Yeah, forcing that out there and going Zhonya second, actually, for Kana in this game instead of going into the Nashor's Tooth means that he's going to be super survivable.
Yeah, that's like even more teamfight prowess.
Yeah, that's like saying like
Nashor's is the split push, and then we've got the Zhonyas.
The basically saying I already done what I would have done with the Nashor's without it. So why would I buy that when I've already gotten the top turret? I've already gotten a ton of extra split push done. I am 50 CS up. I can skip that for now. And they're going to drop the Rift Herald right before the Drake fight. This is going to be really rough for Hanwha Esports to respond to.
I mean, Johan's on this, and I don't think that there's any vision for T1 as Cuz is going to finally move on in. Vista finds position as Winter's Bite will connect as well. Cuz does have the equalizer. And in these kind of moments, it is so incredibly powerful. True Shot Barrage not going to be collected by Vista this time, but not any champions either. As it should be a 50-50. T1 in great position right now, though. It's an equalizer again. Beautifully done. It's Ezreal that locks down the Drake somehow as Chovy once again has to ult out of the fight. Will teleport after another wild growth as Death finds himself frontlining, but he's going to survive for the moment. That Mystic shot is absolutely terrifying, and he's got everyone down to 100 health. But Hanwha Esports will be able to walk away.
They walk away with their lives, but they don't walk away with the Drake. They lose control of the team fight yet again. And all it takes is a hard rotation in from T1, and they just snatch it away. You could see Kana comes in first. He's able to put a lot of that damage through, and then Teddy just falls up. He's got too many items too quickly, right? He's got his Murmillo complete. He had Divine Sunder super early on in the game, and you could just see Hanwha Esports don't have the same sort of consistent damage in the longer fight.
Yeah, this is what happens when T1 brings the fight to where Teddy is. They're like, haha, now we can fight. As here's the replay of Carrier soaking a lot of time and actually just, he does eventually fall down for basically free, but they get a teleport out and it ain't too bad. And then T1 just feeling better in this one.
Now, Kana comes in, threatens, and then drops down the miss. No one can punish him. And unfortunately, Hanwha Esports have to funnel through a choke to defend the Drake, so they think better of it. And then it's just clean up here almost for Teddy, right? A lot of body blocking. They take turns body blocking the Mystic shot. Because, whoa, we're back into a lot of aggression. The Cogmon's dead, Lee Sin's dead, Vista's dead. That's a double kill for Cuz. Not sure entirely how that one happened, but it is now 7-5 in favor of T1. The jungle is down, the bottom lane's down, and that could just mean that the Baron will follow. It is definitely going to follow. I actually made a note of this earlier because I thought it might become relevant in the series. I didn't know if Ezreal was going to be available, but Teddy's solo queue name right now is Mystic Shot. Literally Mystic Shot in solo queue at the moment. So it just feels like it all goes full circle right now. Atlas says it's going to be a Baron play. This game, even though it's only a 2-kill lead for T1, they have had so much control over the map. They've had so much control over the objective that the kill score just simply doesn't matter. And this is such a nice engage here. The follow-up True Shot Barrage. Baker ults in, and it's just as easy as that.
Cuz has only had fantastic equalizers.
Yep. I mean, look at the synergy. Look at the wind-up here for the team fight. Everybody's on the same page. And you see Faker just ults in, and it's super easy to clear it up. They go straight to Baron.
Yep. And presses tab a whole bunch of times as well.
You always got to do that.
Yep.
That's required.
Absolutely knew that there was no stopwatch available outside of Vistas, and they were happy just to take it anyway. That is a joke that relates to our former series. You can go back and watch it if you missed it, if you do want to be in on it. But Hanwha Esports certainly on the ropes at this point in time. They do have a composition that, you could argue scales effectively. However, it is all about trying to find 5v5s where Cogmore can free hit once he's got 3 items, and I just don't know a world where Hanwha Esports are actually given the luxury of getting to a late game where they do have that level of even footing. This is just T1 ripping apart the map and not really giving them the opportunity. As there's the Paranoia to finish off the kill on the Lee Sin. Chovy again ults out to safety.
I mean,
that
this
is
comp-
at the detriment of his jungler.
This comp is just steamrolling now. I mean, the thing is, they don't even have to play the side lanes anymore. They're actually just kind of rolling with the punches. They're rolling forward with the punches, actually. You know, every time Faker ults, they're able to collapse in. They have a lot of burst. They have a lot of safe damage they can do from range. And then after they get a pick, they send Kana off to the side, and he just Pac-Man absorbs everything that exists.
Yep.
It's Waka Waka time, because he gets the whole mid-wave pushed through. He's going to grab some minions. Now he's heading towards the top side of the map. And, you know, Chovy will be able to deal with them okay, but you always have to be careful, because Faker can ult in if you actually commit longer in the side lane to fight.
That emote will always remind me of Kratos after MSI. I can't stop thinking about it. Canna is going to be able to utilize it there, though, as he steals away the Krug camp. And let's have a look at this replay.
A trap is set, and Faker's like, no, who's trapping whom? He just instantly fears and then grabs the ult through. Fuzz drops down an equalizer, and it's just that simple. There's a ton of burst. They're so far ahead at this stage that if anybody tries to fight like that, they're just going to be blown up, and then the map gets opened up once again. This game is starting to look like it's really just off the rails, unfortunately, for Hanwha Life Esports. They're not going to get to that scaling point you were talking about with Deft. And I think this is the third or fourth time this year he's tried to run this Kog'Maw. And even though Kog'Maw is much more meta now than he was last season, it's still very difficult to execute against a top team like T1.
Yeah, it's not really working. Feels like they just haven't been able to get themselves off the ground like they wanted to. True Shot Barrage going to sail wide. And look, it was funny business in the draft on both sides, you know? Like, there was so much flexing going on, and maybe this is Hanwha Life Esports, you know, trying a little bit harder than they'd like. However, they might find themselves a 5v5 here. Carrier goes on in towards the backline. Another equalizer. This one not as fantastic as Paranoia gets towards the backline. Faker has to ult out as Canna has just ripped apart the front line, and Teddy's there for the tidy up. It's a double kill for Canna, and the Acapian surprise for Carrier. Of course, Deft is going to take his friend down with him, but it's not going to win him the game.
I had to say he lives. I had to say it. Oh, he lived through so much, though. Tossed in the solar flare. He has the eclipse up. I mean, that was the story of it all. And then Kana is just pressing R and hitting anybody he can in the fight. Watch what Kana ends up doing in this. So you see Carrier waits. He does come through, gets his Zenith Blade off, tosses on a solar flare. Faker comes through, uses his spell shield. But watch Kana in this fight as his ult just goes through everybody. He drops the mist so no one can collapse on him. And he just does a ton of damage as Teddy cleans up with him. Unfortunately, Deft just never got to the point in this game where he could scale. He didn't have a proper front line. I mean, the Lulu ultimate is the only opportunity they had to really kind of deflect some of that burst damage. And sadly, that's a Mountain Soul. We're looking at another 4-0 Drake game here.
Yeah,
we've three very one-sided games.
We really have. We really have. We've had 12 Drakes so far today, and it's been, well, 12 regular elemental Drakes, I guess, not including Elders, and they've all gone to one team per game. I guess that's just how League of Legends works these days.
At least it is today, and it's not a good thing if you're a Hanwha Life Esports fan. This draft was complex, right? I mean, we had everything that you could imagine, pretty much. Like Chovy flexing onto the mid Volibear. You have the Deft Lulu duo actually being split as Morgan plays the Lulu. And, you know, as many True Shot Barrages as were blocked by the
here we
bomb.
go. This is the big flank.
Okay, Chovy, it's all up to you.
Now, let's see what he can actually get done here. Deft is almost dead before the fight has even begun as Carrier is beelining towards him. There's the equalizer. It's not going to find Deft as Vista's already dead, but it's just an afterthought at this stage. They kill the Kog'Maw, they win the team fight, and now Chovy, he was just too far away from the rest of his team, trying to outthink the unouthinkable. I think that was enough negatives. Yep, I think I nailed it. Now he's still trying to get away here. As Carrier will find himself a stun. Chovy misses the ult over the wall, and I feel like that might be the final nail in the coffin.
It does feel that way. Vista finally gets his locket. A little bit late, you have to feel. That's going to be an inhibitor. You can see Faker's already pushed towards the top lane. He's going to get down the inner turret. Teddy grabs that inhib. Yeah, I mean, there's just no windows really back into this game, unfortunately. You can see the Oblivion Orb is bought for Cuz to deny some of that healing. Morella Namicon actually built this. It ends up being full AP here for Kana. Doesn't go down the Nashor's Tooth route. Doesn't need to, because he doesn't need to split push in a game where he's already gotten all the turrets down. He's already crushed all the minions. And even though we had that long con game played from Chovy here, Deft is just irrelevant in this fight. He's the only damage that this team really has, and he hasn't even gotten all the items he needs. He's killed before Chovy can even do anything. And It was almost an afterthought.
Yeah, it really was. Teddy he basically killed Deft before the fight. He'd just thrown out some accidental Mystic shots, and Deft almost fell over. And that's just the reality of where this game's at right now. 11,000 gold, the lead. A beautiful solar flare. Flash comes out from Deft to avoid the Zenith play, but now the one true carry on Humble Life Esports is without a flash and without a hope of really being able to stave off the almost infinite dive that T1 has available to them.
One more chance here, Humble Life Esports, but Kana's ready to fight.
Oh no, Carrier finds another one. They seem to be heat-seeking these Zenith blades. As with the Cogmore down, there is no way that this is going to work for Humble Life. Jovi's going to try as best he can. Johan goes golden. He may... No, he won't. That's the last tick of Ignite. It's all too easy as Canna in the end locks down the double kill. This is going to be a march up the mid lane as T1 look to secure the first game of the Summer Split 2021 in pretty emphatic fashion.
And I can hear the fans cheer. I can hear the clapping, the screams of the T1 fans. It's been a long time since they've been able to cheer for these players. It's the first time Carrier has people cheer for him in a live audience.
And Canna, the first time for both of them to ever play offline in front of a live audience in the LCK.
And they win it. T1 back to form here, starting off this series with a bang. Quinn's left available. Kana plays it beautifully. Teddy has the game of his life on the Ezreal. One of the priority picks we really didn't think was going to be left open. The fact they even teased Lee Sin felt silly, but they lock it in first. And even though he lost Flash at level 1, he dominates, crushes lane. He's always where he needs to be in every single team fight. Faker supporting around the map with the Nocturne ults. And this snowballed out of control very quickly. And unfortunately for Deft, he just never got to play the game.